Well, in a matter of hours, we will be descending upon Victoria. All aboard for Touchdown Pacific at last. Some 276 days since we announced this whole adventure. It is finally happening. And yes, it's part of OK Tire Labor Day weekend. Nick Kowalski, alongside yours truly, Matt Baker, for First and Now. Lions and Redblacks, round 2 on the island. How you doing?
Yeah, like you said, we finally made it, and the excitement's definitely hitting. It's going to be nice to be in Victoria for the stretch of almost a full week here, and we've been talking about this since it happened, or the announcement in December, and now it feels like a reality. We're seeing pictures of the stadium being all built.
Yeah, that's cool for me, seeing that.
The paint for the field, the Lions are going in on Thursday, so it's all coming together.
Are you capturing any of this field lining painting, or what's your plan?
We're all boots on the ground, all hands on deck this weekend. So the reason why I brought it up earlier in one of our Slack channels was because, yes, I would like to capture that, right? That's kind of like that Hard Knocks-esque beauty style. That's for the pregame, the build up and all that. So to answer your question, I hope to, but we'll see.
Rematch.
Kind of a motto for this week.
Yeah, it's fun. Hey, Dwayne Vano, our president, he's not lying when he says it's going to feel like a mini Grey Cup. Head to bclions.com/touchdown Pacific at our website. Festival at the Harbor Thursday and Friday. A couple of after parties. You can come watch us record our BC Lions on Tap radio show Thursday night, 8 o'clock at the Bard and Banker. Us and the Moj. Rick Campbell slated to be one of our guests, among others. We'll roll out the guest list closer to Thursday. But yeah, it's kind of time is flying. It's funny. Got up this morning about 6 o'clock, went for my long walk, get some morning steps in, and it felt like autumn. It was chilly. I should have layered up. I could have used a toque and gloves, to be honest. But we still have a few weeks of summer left in the city of Vancouver, and yeah, the fact that this is part of Labor Day makes it even more special. Lions and Redblacks, 4 o'clock Saturday, Royal Athletic Park. We're going to talk to offensive lineman Sukh Chungh in a few minutes here. He'll join us here in our studio, but we have to rehash a 5th straight loss, 34-27. BC Lions did a lot of things right, but unfortunately, some timely mistakes did them in. A couple of Nathan Rourke fumbles. Inability to get off the field on several second and long situations. There's some fixing to do. They will admit that, but overall, your thoughts on Saturday in Ottawa?
Well, Coach Campbell and Nathan Rourke are kind of talking about this post-game, but it's just the errors or the missteps are kind of just happening in the key moments. And I look at it where the errors in this game happen in just those key categories that decide wins and losses in football games. And I'm talking about, the turnovers, like you mentioned, three giveaways. That's it's tough to win football games when you're giving the ball away 3 times or more. 7 penalties. It's kind of about average in the CFL for a game, but it felt like the penalties
timely ones.
Yeah, they came at just those crucial moments, second and longs. Obviously the one in the bank sack in the 4th quarter that
illegal contact.
Gave Ottawa an extra 4 points by scoring a touchdown instead of a field goal. And then the other one is the red zone, right? The Lions going 2 for 5 in the red zone. That's a number I know they'd like to improve. Nathan Rourke was talking about it today in his media availability, that you leave, 4 times 3, 12 points on the field right there by not converting on those 3 red zone trips. And
1 possession win in the end for Ottawa.
Difference, right? So yeah, stuff to shore up. Definitely progress, though. I mean, that 51-yard run. I mean, wow.
Great stuff.
From Nathan, attributed to 161 or some of those 165 rushing yards. Will Stanback again looked great. Justin McInnes was back to his usual self in that first quarter. Aiden Eberhard, a couple clutch catches down the stretch in the 3rd quarter on that last touchdown drive. And yeah, Ottawa's a good team. They're fast. They're physical on defense. But it's probably good, though, that, it's Nathan's 3rd start, and he's preparing for the same team he's been preparing for about 10 days now, right? And he's actually talked about that today in his media too, right? That's a benefit for someone that's still getting their footing back in this 2024 season. But yeah, it's going to be a good one again.
Yeah, and won't bury the lead too much as far as the weekly question about quarterbacks. Rick Campbell has said Nathan Rourke will start, so he'll start a game in the city he was born in. And again, when this was first announced in November, would we ever have thought
Nope.
It would be Nathan Rourke back here? Vernon Adams Jr. is doing a bit more in practice, though, so not ruling out the possibility of Vernon dressing and being an option to play. should there be some certain packages, and if the offense struggles again, you never know. That's going to be a storyline here, is how short or long is the leash on Nathan if Vernon is there in uniform. Rick Campbell's plan was to potentially have Mr. Adams do some team drills on day 2. He was in uniform, limited off to the side, not taking part in any of those on day 1. So Lions will have one more Surrey practice day. We head to Victoria Wednesday night. Thursday, full practice at Langford Starlight Stadium for fans on the island looking to check us out. Friday, walkthrough at Royal Athletic Park. Walkthrough practice is typically not open to the public, but of course, game day, the main event, Touchdown Pacific, presented by WestJet. And I'm interested to hear what RP's thoughts are. Ryan Phillips would be going into this one, because that's a proud group. We've talked about the likes of Gary Peters playing at such a high level. TJ Lee, maybe 4 or 5 games in, bit of a work in progress getting back. They need to rush the quarterback. Drew Brown looked full marks for all the free agent money he earned in Ottawa, and you saw flashes of him as a backup in Winnipeg. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this defense recovers.
Yeah, the air raid was on for the Redblacks, unfortunately, for the Lions' sake. Like you said, Brown going for almost 400 yards. We talked about Justin Hardy last week being he's an elite receiver in this league that no one really talks about, and we saw it on full display last week. He had 11 grabs for 114 yards. Nick Martiner, their first-round pick, came alive. He's a 2
touchdowns.
Athletic playmaking receiver, so kind of a triple threat right there. Obviously, that we witnessed on his long touchdown, and but I mean, if you take away positives, I thought that the Lions did a great job defending the run. Raquel Armstead came in as one of the better rushers this season. Dustin Crum, I know he scored on the short yardage, but it took them several tries on that drive. They had 2nd and shorts and didn't convert, and then ultimately got the 3rd and shorts. But that's a testament to guys like Christian Covington up the middle who forced a turnover, key turnover in the 4th quarter that the Lions turned into a field goal. AC Ely getting the last second start. I thought he was great.
I've been impressed by him.
He's just ascending, right? And he's
physical.
Yeah. There was that 2nd and short where they ran it up the gut to Armstead, and AC Lee blew him up in open field, which is pretty impressive. And Ryder Varga is definitely earning his starting reps right now too. So I think the backers are doing a great job. Ryder's just a playmaker too. We're on record saying that, I'm at least, that Ryder kind of has like that Adam Bighill kind of skill set where he's going to do a little bit of everything. And I think if you're watching that game last week, aging, I mean, he's obviously nowhere near to Adam Bighill's status and career accolades yet, but I mean, I see it. I honestly do. Just with the stat sheet stuff for kind of ability of him.
And we've talked to Neil McAvoy and to Rob Ralph about just how much this Canadian contingent of players on defense, especially, has improved year by year. You're seeing the fruits of that labor. With a guy like Ryder Varga, indeed.
100%, yeah. And looking at the defensive backs, the backfield this week, it's early, but 1 practice in, Ronald Kent getting some reps there, so maybe he cracks back into the lineup. Adrian Green was getting some safety reps, so we'll see how that all shakes out. But
I think you might be on to something there, lineup-wise. We will wait until Friday and see, but Ben Hladek tweaked his calf, retweaked it, I guess, a bit in warm-ups in Ottawa. Would expect him to head to the 1 game injured, but we shall see. Thursday again, Starlight Stadium in Langford, full practice. White Spot, team lunch. We'll talk to Sukh Chungh about that. He might have some special duties there. He doesn't know about it yet. We're gonna spill the beans here. So I know you might not be at White Spot, but I'll be. I've got my order in already. We'll talk more about that. BCLions.com/touchdown Pacific for the full festival schedule. Should also remind before we get Sukh in here, if you don't have a ticket to the game, the Backyard Watch Party, we're calling it, presented by Play Now Sports, just a block away at Central Park. Every fan who buys a ticket to this gets entered in a raffle to win Nathan's game-worn jersey. How about that?
That's a big deal.
On your wall. $25 tickets for adults, $12. Get it? Nathan Rourke, 12 for kids 17 and under. Should be a special day. All right, Sukh Chungh, speaking of Canadian content, get his thoughts on Victoria and what his read is on this 5-game losing streak. Sukh is next. And it is our great pleasure to welcome in now a veteran offensive lineman with the BC Lions, Port Coquitlam's favorite son, second after Terry Fox, I'd say. Is that a good way to describe it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Have to give Terry his love, everything he did. Sukh Chungh with us, and welcome.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah.
Well, second time too.
Second time, yes. I think was it the second or third one ever we did. I think
it was right at the jump, and I was fresh onto the scene. So we got.
You guys look like a well-oiled machine. Now.
We were talking. We're in our little boardroom, but we got the equipment figured out and everything. It's going to sound good.
You guys are looking good in here, man.
We've come a long way.
You almost tripped and hurt yourself badly. We were going to have to put you on the injured list for Victoria, but
I don't know what you're talking
about. Yes. Anyway, try to keep this on the rails. Yeah, every 100 or so episodes, we have Sukh sit down in here.
There we go.
Yeah,
hey, listen, we're recording this after day one practice on the Tuesday, and Nick and I were commenting, you wouldn't know what's going on here. I know 5 losses in a row, and a reminder of how quickly things can turn in this league if you're not on it, so to speak. Would you say the mood is good here compared to maybe some other struggling teams you've played on over the years, Sukh?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a good job of trying to let go of the past, and obviously that hasn't been that great for us with this little slump that we're on. But, guys are coming back to work, excited to get back to work, and I think that's very important for us just to get this week rolling. With Victoria around the corner here, we're going to be there. So I think it's going to keep our mind off of things and keep us gelling together. And, yeah, I mean, it's tough right now with the losses, but in the grand scheme of things, the West is up for grabs still, and I think we're looking at that as a big opportunity for us to start pulling away.
Yeah, everyone kind of jammed together, and that's one of the things that makes the league great. Some of these playoff races could be very exciting, but you want to stay out in front of it. You want to stay in control of your own destiny. Obviously, Victoria is the talk of the week. Been thinking here, did you ever go over there in high school, play against Mount Douglas, or at your time at Terry Fox, anything like that?
No, we played Mount Doug, but we never went to Victoria to play Mount Doug, which they also have a very good high school team, and they've done well. They have a lot of good football on the island, so that's really cool for us to go support them, for them to support us, which is awesome.
And I know Nick and I were talking as well. You've taken part of some of the Vancouver Island community initiatives. What's your sense of how excited and passionate the fans on Vancouver Island are for this team?
Oh, it's huge. It really opened my eyes up for when I went there this past off season, and a couple of years ago I went there for a Be More Than a Bystander presentation, and you do the whole pub visits, and we couldn't believe how many people we had out, and huge supporting cast over there. And I mean, it's going to be tenfold when the whole team shows up and we have our venue set up, a whole game out there. I think we'll have a huge supporting crowd from them.
Have you ever been to Victoria before then, like for leisure, or is it just
I mean, growing up here in Vancouver, I definitely have gone there with my family, my friends. Pretty nice spot in the summer, as you guys know. And yeah, I got some family out there that will be definitely at the practices and at the games, so which is really cool for them that they don't have to make the ferry ride over. We'll be making the ride over for them.
It's funny too, because last Saturday in Ottawa, I was talking to Ottawa's digital people, and they're obviously coming out. So that's our version of like tummy sticks, like before the game, talking with the opponent. But they were actually talking to me, and they're like, "Yeah, originally we were like trying to like plan to like go whale watching and stuff like this, but there's really no time. So this is kind of pretty much a work trip essentially, just with a lot of stuff going on. But if you did have stuff to do in Victoria, what would be your go-to? Like the restaurants, like the water?
Yeah, I mean, the scenery is awesome there, but some really good seafood. I know Redfish, Bluefish is a big restaurant out there that I'm trying to take the O-line to, and there's some good seafood out there. So we're looking forward to that. If we do have some time to get out and eat, we're definitely going to try to plug in some restaurants. And like you said, it is a work trip, so we're not going to have too much time to whale watch or anything like that. But yeah, it's a really nice city. The scenery is really good, and I'm just excited to go out there and practice and have the fans out there supporting us.
Just to jump in quickly on the topic of the O-line and food, just to warn you, okay, we've got the White Spot visit on Thursday.
Yeah.
And there is some talk, our pal Jay Janauer at Global might capture some content with you guys eating burgers. So
yeah, that's cool. Just tell Jay not to get in the way.
No, I would say, well, just giving you the heads up, because this is a competition. You want to be...
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Can't
wait to get to White Spot.
Yeah, White Spot's the best. Shout out to White Spot.
Yeah, you got your order in, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's that, Thursday? I'm not going to that, actually. I'm a little disappointed. I got other duties, but
We'll save
do
you a
you gotta
burger.
do?
I got to beat the festival. We got to have all hands on deck. Yeah. Boots on the ground everywhere.
Yeah.
I got my bacon cheddar burger order in,
So did I.
I'm
I
not
hope you guys
missing this.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Talking about how we had you 100 episodes ago and we just kind of shot the stuff, talked about stuff, but we didn't really get into like your background. So I wanted to go into like the Dinos days back in the day. So just tell me about that, because I was looking earlier, like obviously the Dinos are a pretty prestigious Can West club. You lost 7 games over your 4 years there. That's correct. So very successful for those who don't know that by hearing that. But what are some of the top memories you have from playing for the Dinos?
Yeah. Man, a lot of the guys I played with are still playing in the league. You know, shout out to Adam Konar and Jake Hardy, Sean McEwen still playing. So we had a group of guys that we all got drafted together, and really close knit group of guys. And you know, we would one of the cool memories. Sort of sucks in the long term, man. But we had the Vanier in Laval, Quebec City. We lost that game, but you know, really cool to be out in Laval in November. Their huge crowd and playing in that stadium. I thought that was really cool. We won 3 Hardy Cups, which is the West Trophy, and those were huge memories for us. And you know, the Dinos have always been a strong program before I got there, and it was just nice to, you know, keep it rolling as I was there. So really good times with the Dinos. Shout out to Coach Blake Nell. You know, he helped me out a lot over there.
Tyler Packard too.
Tyler Packard,
Little
yeah.
alumni, yeah.
I didn't.
It's funny. It's different eras, right? Like there's the full pots now. It's like, but they gotta get it going too. What's going on? Have you been keeping up with?
Yeah, man, I have a buddy that's coaching over there, and I had 2 buddies coaching. One's a linebacker coach, and one's a strength and conditioning. I think we're gonna have a better year. We had a coaching staff switch up, and you know, Sheehan's back, and I think we're gonna recruit some good recruits. Don't count us out this year, but it's definitely gonna be a building year.
Speaking of the Dinos, we're getting set in a couple of weeks. The 2000 Grey Cup team is going to go onto our Wall of Fame, and a receiver from that team that may not get a lot of the accolades because he wasn't here that long, Don Blair.
Oh, yeah.
He was a Calgary Dino back in the day. He set insane records in, I think it was like the 1995 Vanier Cup. Yeah. And I liked him because he had the shield.
Tinted visor.
The tinted visor.
Back in the day, you don't see that.
White receiver with the tinted visor. Yeah, it was.
No, his picture's up everywhere at the Dinos footballs. You know, we share the stadium with Calgary, and obviously we get a wing. And if you go down there, they've done a really good job of just setting it up from the past players that have turned pro. And Don's a huge name in that building, and you know, the things he did are going to be hard to recreate. So
absolutely.
Shout out to Don.
Absolutely. Looking forward to Wall of Fame night, Legends night. A couple of big games. First, just your overall thoughts on this Redblacks team, and you know, for some Lions fans who maybe wouldn't have paid a lot of attention to all their games, I think it was clear there on Saturday they are as good as their record.
Yep.
What are you looking to clean up here in this rematch, Sukh?
Yeah, the Ottawa Redblacks are a good team, very good defense. You know, I think their average on defense allowing points was 17 or 20 like that. We got to put up points, and ultimately, when we get in the red zone, we got to score. We got to walk away with 6s, not 3s. I think that's a huge part of our game that would have helped our defense a ton, and with field position and everything. So, you know, things we can clean up. There's obviously small little details, but one of the bigger ones is getting in the red zone and scoring, walking out with 6s, not 3s, and just helping our defense out, staying on the field a little bit longer so the offense has to take short drives, and, you know, we can stay true to our offense and march the field as well. So things to clean up. All credit to them. You know, they won that game and all that, but I think we can help ourselves by scoring in the red zone.
Dominate, reset, dominate, right?
Yes, sir.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. It used to be just dominate, and then it was just dominate. Got old.
Reset.
Yeah. Then what is it? It's just we always talk about one play at a time. And what is that? We got to dominate one play, reset, dominate the other play, and it just stuck with me. And I'm not a big hoorah guy or plan the speeches out, so that thing's just stuck with me, and a lot of the guys are buying into that, which is awesome for me.
It's a gem for me for using it for audio and all that, and I love when the guys do it all together too. It's a little chant now, but it's awesome. But one other aspect about this week that it's kind of getting buried, at least out in Vancouver, is that's the Labor Day weekend. Yeah, and that's an exciting weekend in the CFL, right? Probably the #1 weekend. You obviously started your career with Winnipeg. You've played in a couple Labor Day Classics. Any top memories? Go to Regina. That was a tough game for Winnipeg. Jake Dolagala beat them last year. It still is, right?
Yeah, that's a crazy rivalry in the CFL. Really good for the league. And yeah, I think my favorite memory is, I'm not sure about this, but I think we beat Saskatchewan on their opening day, opening the new stadium. And then
that was Canada Day.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching that when we were laying over in Kingston for a few days.
And that was their first game in the new stadium.
Yeah, so you went there before Labor Day that year. Yes.
Before Labor Day, and then we got to go back. So the rivalry, is always big. And then you follow it up with the Banjo Bowl, and it's awesome. But yeah, those are two, when you play for Winnipeg or Sask, those are huge games you look forward to because they're Labor Day plus they're back-to-back games. So it's a West opponent back-to-back, which is a huge 14-day stretch.
And we're talking about how tight this division is. If one of those teams can get the sweep, that's really going to serve them well. Because look at this schedule. Winnipeg goes back-to-back with Edmonton right after that. Right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe that is the case. So, yeah, it is a logjam. And, the Banjo Bowl has kind of taken that rivalry to another level, right? How crazy did it get back at IG Field, as it was known then, for the second half of that series?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, Sask gets to show off their numbers and bring a huge crowd out, and I think Winnipeg takes a lot of pride in their crowd. And when we get the Banjo Bowl or the second game of the back-to-back, the stadium usually fills up because they want to do up the Sask fans, and it's a huge game and huge turnout. It's always loud. Sucks for the other team. Sucks for Winnipeg when they travel to Sask, vice versa. So it's really nice to see, and I think that's huge for the league to have that kind of stuff and just, overall good football.
What about the Monday games? Like, I know you guys are watching film on all that. I don't know if you just watch film of the other games, but are you going to be watching those games live? Or
Yeah, totally. I think we've done a good job this year on some guys are spread around the city, but we usually try to text and say, hey, you guys want to catch the game somewhere, especially if we're playing the team right after or whoever it is. But I think it's important to watch the CFL games together, especially for some of these young Americans that are here. Sit down with them, go to a restaurant, watch the game, let them see the game in full, as a full game, and we can talk about it on the small nuances of things that we see.
Yeah, it's a more chill environment. I like doing that the day before our road games.
That's the best.
Yeah, it throws you for a loop when we go and we're playing on a Thursday. A few weeks ago in Winnipeg, it just felt so weird. Oh, there's no game on today.
Or Winnipeg Hamilton starting at 8:30 p.m. on Friday.
On Eastern time.
I didn't mind that one because I was in bed and sitting in the hotel.
I was going to say, it'll be asleep when the game's over. Yeah. It's crazy.
Just like you would be at home if it was a late 7 o'clock game you were watching. Hey, before we're done, Nick has some rapid fire O-line questions. We're going to get back to the food.
Came prepared.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
All right.
Go for it.
Do you want to go back and forth here?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, I'll
you want
go
to start
first.
it off, Cap?
Okay, who eats the most O-line?
Eats the most.
Or like biggest plate?
Biggest plate. Let's go.
It's a training camp question too, yeah.
Oh, I think right now our PR guy, Corey Woodruff, would probably eat the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What about the fastest offensive lineman?
Ooh.
You can say yourself.
I put myself up there. I think I'm a little older now, but I think I could still get it going. Don't sleep on Jarrell. Jarrell's pretty quick too for a big man. So yeah, I'll put Jarrell and I up there.
Yeah, I like when they pull Jarrell.
Yeah, he's a big man.
It's always fun getting him in space there.
I have a feeling we're talking to him right now. Who's the loudest?
Probably me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thought so.
You gotta have one loud guy, and I think I have to take that role on head on.
Uno reverse, though. Who was the quietest?
Our rookie. Una.
Corey?
Yeah, no, Una's very quiet. I mean, as a rookie, you typically are, but yeah, Una's pretty quiet. Oh, actually, Tyler Packer's very quiet as well.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
That's true.
Hey, Una plays D tackle too. Hey, that was awesome in that goal line stand and Sass getting him in there. Yeah.
Best dressed.
Ooh, Kent Perkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been spicing it up this year on the road game. So I don't
Noticed that.
Yeah, noticed that too. Last year it was okay, but this year, he's got some fits.
This is a random one I just found online. It's kind of a generic one, but who would you not want to be stranded with?
On the O-line?
Yeah.
Probably Dave Neville.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
This could be fun. Who is the worst texter too many emojis. I get annoyed when people use multiple exclamation points as well. Any
sends 5 messages.
Yeah. Any dirt there?
I'm the worst texter. Oh man. Might have to be Andrew Pearson. He just you might just get off topic and start a conversation by himself. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it might be Mike not getting back to us in time, but we don't have that many bad texters. We're pretty good communicators. So.
Well said. I think that's the end of the exam, sir. Hey,
all right.
Hey, listen, I know it's hit a bit of a rough patch, but that's football, right?
Yeah.
You've been around long enough to know. You've been on some teams that have struggled, but made some noise in the playoffs. And let's hope a trip to the capital is what cures us. We'll see you on the flight. It's a quick flight. Don't try to catch a nap on this flight.
No.
But you never sleep on the plane anyway. You didn't coming home from Ottawa, I don't think, so... Good times. Thanks for this, sir, and we won't wait another 100 this time.
No, get me on here quicker. I don't mind it.
Talk soon. That is Sukh Chungh, the pride of Terry Fox Secondary. We'll be back to go around OK Tire Labor Day weekend on First and Now. Excellent stuff with Sukh Chungh. Very well spoken, and yeah, my money's on him at White Spot.
Well, who do you say? Corey Woodruff? Would be the
a runner-up.
I think so. I don't know Slugger. I've seen Slugger at those O-line meals. He puts it down.
Yeah,
I know that. So
I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing you're gonna have the entire O-line there.
Gets mods going. You got White Spot's obviously sponsoring this lunch. It's at White Spot, but get Play Now involved in this. Be a fun wager to make.
Blitz picks
or Blitz picks. Yeah, there you go.
Get Alex Ruiz on the case. Yeah. Yes, look, that's one of the things I'm looking for. I can get a White Spot burger anytime, but I'm most excited to have one at Touchdown Pacific. So, very, very well. Hey, one other note from the game. We neglected to mention it off the top. They just keep piling up. Sean White, only the 9th ever to hit 500 career field goals. He had his first one back in July 2009 with the Lions against Edmonton, and number 500 came in Ottawa on the losing cause. Congratulations, Whitey.
Yeah, another massive kudos, right? And we talk about it all the time that we're so grateful and so lucky to have a kicker as automatic as Sean White, and obviously a pretty gut-wrenching moment at the start of the second quarter there where the streak ends at, it was 46, right?
Yes, 46. Ended,
but I mean, if we're talking it like how it is, he's still perfect when the kick goes up, right? It was just an unreal athletic play by Jovan Santos Knox in Ottawa to get his paw on the ball and block it, which unfortunately does count as a missed field goal. But when Sean gets the ball to the upright, he's perfect this year still. So,
yeah, the CFL rulebook states that a block counts as a miss. And hey, we look forward to tracking this next streak, which I believe is at 3.
3 in a row, yeah. So those failed red zone attempts ultimately, that's why you got a guy like Mr. White to back it up and knock those field goals through.
All right, we'll go for it or punt in just a moment, but as is the custom, we will look at the rest of the games. Week 13, OK Tire Labor Day weekend. How did we get to Labor Day weekend in the CFL already? Of course, some traditional matchups here. Lions, Redblacks to start it off with Touchdown Pacific, and then we go to Sunday afternoon, Winnipeg in Saskatchewan, and boy, oh boy, are the implications here huge. The Riders holding down first place by a thread for the time being, at least 5-1. Winnipeg with their 3 straight wins at 5-6. Chance for Winnipeg to potentially take over first place, depending on what happens in Victoria. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. The Riders, of course, got a win in this season series already. Going to be parked in front of my TV Sunday, as are you.
Oh, same. I always say that outside of any BC Lions game, this one game, Winnipeg at Sask Labor Day weekend, is probably my favorite CFL game of the season. It's just the vibes are unmatched in my opinion. I've been to a couple of these. They're as hostile as they get when it comes to CFL football, and it's like you said, a massive game. Sask does have the upper hand though. With they beat Winnipeg back in July, so they can afford a splitter. A split is all they really need. It seems like it's going to be a season of tiebreakers, meaning all that much more with everybody all crammed in here in the West. So massive game to start. I'm hoping, I haven't looked at the weather. I know for Touchdown Pacific, by the way, the weather looks fantastic, but I always associate these Labor Day, this Winnipeg Sask game. It's always a sunny day in Regina. It's kind of like the last weekend or two before fall officially hits. And yeah, there should be a dandy here. And it's trending like, in the past couple of seasons, Sask has kind of started to find ways to lose toward the end of the year. And then Winnipeg always just finds ways to win. I think we saw that last week.
Well,
but
the reason Winnipeg is doing what they're doing is because they are back to playing championship level defense. Yep. Remember that that second straight Grey Cup they won in 2021, and I guess 2019, they won it on the strength of defense. And then it kind of shifted those following 2 years where they beat us and then lost in the Grey Cup. It was kind of the offense, and Brady was kind of the straw stirring that drink. So that's kind of an interesting cycle with the Blue Bombers, is if they play good defense, they are going to be in it till the end.
Well, hell, I think our fans might turn it off. We keep start talking about Winnipeg's success and all that, but it feels like they just have a freaking like factory of DBs, linebackers, D linemen, all three phases, right? You got a guy, Michael Ayers, this second string special teams linebacker who's leading the CFL in special teams tackles, comes up with a touchdown off Tony Jones' forced fumble on a punt, right? And we saw Tony Jones make some plays against us the other week. Shane Gauthier coming in for Adam Bighill. The Bombers don't win that Grey Cup in 2019 without Shane Gauthier making a shoestring tackle on a trick punt by the Riders in the West Final, right? So that's me going into my deep bag of memory here. That's
those 4 or 5 plays that Rick Campbell talks about,
and
right?
They come out on the right side of it. So we're looking forward to getting the Bombers again. I know everyone in this organization wants another crack at them when it matters, right? But for now, let's
get there first.
Yeah, we gotta enjoy Labor Day weekend.
All right, shifting. By the way, that's 4 o'clock, the early evening slot on Sunday. Riders, Blue Bombers. Labor Day Monday doubleheader, one of the best days of the year, even if we're not involved directly. 11:30, Toronto in Hamilton. We're out in Ottawa there, Nikki, and we're like, man, we might actually get some help here from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And a lot happening there, of course, with Chris Jones coming in to call the defense. And you get the sense they're in desperation mode at 2-9. They pretty much have to run the table to sort of stay in the mix, you'd think, in this Eastern Division. Toronto, we'll see if Chad Kelly gets a little bit more help from his receivers and see if they can shore up some of their short yardage issues that they had against Saskatchewan. But I would think the Argonauts have the upper hand in this one.
Yeah, and they're definitely gotta emphasize, or an area to emphasize on practice this week, the short yardage failures that they had 3 of them against Saskatchewan last week, still coming out on top on a rouge, classic CFL ending. I know that sparked a lot of debate.
Let's skip that debate for this one. It's been beaten to death.
I'm probably on the side of the non-popular side of that debate. By the way, I like the rouge, but we'll move on.
So do I.
Move on.
Yeah,
I don't mind that ending at all. But Hamilton, they look. It's one of those games. I think we have the obligatory throw out the record books when these two teams meet, because it seems like anything can happen when Toronto and Hamilton go to head. These teams hate each other. I know there was that documentary the other year, the Battle of the QBW, right? And it shows how much these fan bases, these organizations really bicker at each other. So I always look forward to these ones. It kind of winds down the weekend, right? And yeah, it should be a good one. Chad Kelly back, obviously. So see how he does on the road. I'm sure it's going to be hostile, but yeah, should be a good one.
And then switching over to 3 o'clock Pacific time, Edmonton is in Calgary. You get the sense it's crunch time for the Stampeders, which might be ironic because they are entering this one 2 points ahead of the Elks. Edmonton nearly pulling off an upset in Montreal. So we've talked about some teams in these rivalry games would be good with the split. I think if you're Edmonton, you got to get both of these.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge, right? And they haven't played each other yet this season.
They've not, yeah.
So the same thing with the Battle of Ontario, Battle of Alberta gets really spicy too. The Elks. I mean, we were saying last week, we said if they could go into Montreal and pull it off, we can call them a contender kind of thing, right? Not just a team that can beat you on any of the day. And that first half, they looked real good against Montreal, and then the run game was going with Kevin Brown, and then they really had nothing in the second half. It was really a tale of 2 halves for Edmonton. So see which Elks team comes out, see if Trey Ford's healthy. McLeod Thomas is obviously playing good ball for them. Defense is coming along, but Calgary's off a bye. Dave Dickinson off a bye. I don't know.
And they will meet for a third time Thanksgiving weekend. Well, how about this for a doubleheader? It's the same day we're in Saskatchewan, Saturday, October 12th. So
major implications, yeah.
Will that one mean much? We shall see. Yeah, 4 o'clock at McMahon Stadium, and love the Battle of Alberta. Love OK Tire Labor Day weekend, and glad that we're part of it this year with a little bit of a twist of going to Victoria. Okay. Go for it. Punt. The goal every week is just to get it to go for it or punt. And we've made it. What are you liking?
3rd and 1. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for the islands. It's the topic of the week, right? My go for it's just
like
islands.
Vancouver Island or island? Like you
all
want
islands. Well, you put me on some game earlier this year. Whenever I said I was on the coast and I called it Vancouver Island, so I'm learning.
Oh, the Sunshine Coast in Vancouver. Yeah, it's okay. That's a rookie mistake.
It's still a Vancouver Island in a sense, right? I'm kind of it's an island. Well, I guess it's BC Island to kind of be the proper terminology.
The Sunshine Coast. It's part of the mainland, but you got to take a ferry to get there. If that makes sense. Or,
why would it be part of the mainland?
Well, because I guess the roads don't go that far. I don't know. Okay, we'll call it an island for argument's sake.
Sunshine Coast, definitely an island.
Never been.
I talk about all the love I got for that place. Victoria is great. There's so much to do out there. Still got to get to Tofino and all that. But for this week, we're going to be headed to the island. I'm going for it. I'm so excited to get to Victoria. There's a couple nights there too. It's not like your typical road trip where you just get the one night and kind of got to make the most of it all in that little span there. But I'm really excited for it. It's kicking in.
It is. And by the time you're listening to this, we might be there already.
Yeah.
You never know. All right. We talked about Ottawa and missed the trip last year. So as a result, you miss out on some of the favorite things you like to do in these cities. And Stephen Chang and I ended up at the Lafayette, the Laugh, the locals call it. Just something good about live music venues. You know, you sit down, you have a drink, you get into it. It's loud, but not too loud that you can't have a conversation. And I even saw some fireworks. Some guys got into a bit of a brouhaha. Was not part of it.
That's a
Don't
metaphor,
worry.
Yeah.
Yes, definite metaphor. But just cool to sit back and watch cover bands play in a lounge type environment. Don't do that enough, but we always do it in Ottawa. Love it.
The place we went out with AJ had live music too, right?
AJ Jakubek, last week's guest. Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
So a full night of live music.
Good pizza at that place too.
Oh yeah.
So all right, punting.
I'm punting. This is one I feel strongly about. And it was funny. Steven actually showed me a video on the plane ride back. It was somebody just backing into a building in Richmond or something like that with their vehicle, and it sparked my thought that I can't stand when people back into parking spots. It bothers me because I always find that especially in my parkade in my apartment, I'm a big parkade that I'm in, and people, whenever they back in, they're tight spots, so it takes them a long time to back in. So I'm just waiting there, watching them back in. I feel like they feel like there's pressure that I'm putting on them by just waiting there. It takes so much more time. I don't think it's that. I don't really get the point of it too. I think it's more difficult to back into a parking spot than it is
to back out of one when you're
and it's not like it's hard to back out.
So full disclosure, I don't back into spots very often. Sometimes at home in our parking garage, yes. But yeah, I will say it is annoying if you're out at a public lot and you're waiting to move and you have to wait there for someone to back into the spot. Yeah.
And there's no need to. You just drive right into the spot, and it's not hard to back out. But I do like parallel parking, though, I think, because I'm a good parallel parker. I'll take anybody up to a challenge on that. I get excited when I get a parallel parking opportunity.
Parallel parking's easier than you think, yeah.
That's the thing, too. It's kind of a cheat code built in with these cameras in your vehicles. But
sure.
Regardless, so I know my driving test, I nailed that. I remember I was proud of that. I think you do it first, too, so it just gets you off on the right foot.
Me, too, and... yeah, the parallel park and the 3-point turn. You nail those, you're good.
I feel like I know the answer to this because I'd be shocked if you did, but I'm guessing you never failed your driver's test?
I failed 3 times.
No way. Yeah. I would have never guessed that. You are a good driver. I've been in the car with you, so I would have never have guessed that.
Well, look at it this way. Maybe I'm a better driver as a result of the hardships.
All your failures built you up, yeah. I passed first time.
I was a slow learner in some things, and driving.
I'm stunned to hear that. I would have guessed for sure you would have passed first time.
You passed the first time, I'm guessing?
No, not a big deal.
Hey, fourth time was the charm for me, baby. There you go. You learn something new about me every week, those listening out there.
All right, I'm off now to you for punt, though. A little off the rails there.
Yeah, advice, though, to young kids, if you fail, learn from it. You'll be a better driver when
try again.
Punting, I can't stand this. I feel the pandemic brought more of this. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not tipping anyone in places where I have to get up and order or put the thing on the counter. Like I go to the liquor store, I get a bottle of wine or something. With all due respect, I'm not tipping.
They want to tip you. I think it's a local store aspect of it, but it's brutal, eh?
It's brutal.
And it's everywhere, too. It's not just alcoholic stores. It's like fast food. It's everywhere.
It makes you feel so guilty when you don't do it because, hey, people are just working for a living. They got to earn their keep. But yeah, I'm punting that.
I think people are generous with tipping and all that too. I'm not saying I don't tip, but I'll call it like it is. If the service is bad, like you still have to tip. And for the record, I still will always tip unless I can't even think of a time I never tipped on like a restaurant aspect of things. But if it's not good, I'll when it's like the first option's like 18%, like I'll go to the other and put like 10 or 15 kind of thing, right? But gotta earn that 18%.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's a good take, though.
Yeah. Sure.
Won't catch any flack for that.
No. And if you do, who cares?
Do better.
Do better. Just like the BC Lions aiming to do better. Lions, Redblacks, 4 o'clock. If you're not at Touchdown Pacific, you can watch on TSN, of course. Stream on CFL Plus, US and International. Moj and Julio, 3 o'clock pregame. Some special shows. Subscribe to the Lions Radio Network podcast feed. BC Lions on Tap will be there, as well as some bonus coverage from Moj and Julio from the festival. Sherry Punjab, AM 600, Harp and Tack will be on the ground in Victoria. Their pregame show, 3:30 Saturday. All right, we'll be back next week to recap Labor Day and recap, hopefully, a win. And we're getting ready for Montreal. Giddy up. Montreal, we're coming. First and now, the official Lions podcast.